All right, boys, it's beautiful to be here. You see, now I see the crowd. We got to talk different musagim, different levels, you know? Like this. Rav Vozna passed away, right, about a few years ago. First of all, I was in a sale. I was zochet to meet him once or twice, big zechut. And you ever hear of Rav Bengis, of Zelig Reuven Bengis? You know what that is? He was the Av Bedin of Yerushalayim many, many years ago. And he brings down how when Rav Shmuel Vozna went to give him Mishloach Manot on Purim, Rav Bengis had a little to drink. You know, Purim, you know. And Rav Bengis says to Rav Vozna, wow, look who came. Look who came, Rav Vozna. He says, right now, I'd like to do the entire Shas with you. From cover, what? The whole Shas right now. He says, but Rebbe, you know, Purim, have the whole day. I'll be here till who knows how long. He says, no problem. We're going to do every 10 blot, every 10 daf of Gemara. This is from an eyewitness, told this to Rav Yosef Tzvi, which was Shmuel Vozna's son. He says, the eyewitness says, that Rav Bengis told him, we'll do every 10 blot, the first line, every 10 blot, the second line of Rashi, and every 10 blot, the third line of Tosafot. You know what's going on over here? Start from Masechet Berachot, say the top, the beginning, the opening. There was an eyewitness there that tested Rav Vozna from the beginning of Masechet Berachot till the end of Shas Uksin. He never made one mistake. And you know how old he was? 27. 27 years old. He's going through the whole entire Shas. Every 10 blot, the first time when you know, Balpeh. Now you're telling me, but Rabbi, this is a different level. We're not on this level. How can we get on this level, right? That's what you're telling me. That's what you're thinking in your mind. But I'm not thinking like that. I'm thinking that everybody could. First of all, they say Rav Vozna, he went to Yeshiva Lublin, right? Rav Meir Shapiro, he had a item a certain time, he would shut the lights off. Everybody had to go to sleep. Rav Vigdor Miller was he was very into that. He says, make sure you have to get good sleep. You have to steig in the morning. You got to go strong. So he would have a certain time, he would shut the lights. Great. And one time he came in and he see Rav Vozna as a bacha sitting down, as a bachur sitting down and learning. Says, listen, you're going against the takana. I don't understand you. How could you supposed to be sleeping now? He says, but Rebbe, you're Sheshiva. I have a problem. So what's the problem? I'm not as fast as the rest. These guys are speeding. They know, they this, they that. I got to catch up. And who became the Gadol Ador? Rav Vozna. Out of all the friends, the Gadol Ador got on. He says, why? What's the pshat? How do you get to become humongous in Torah? How do you become to have a beautiful life of Torah? Like this. One time, I was in Mikdash, and Rabbi Milworm, he had a boy, we had a bris, and who was the sandak? Rav Scheinberg. Zatzal. Scheinberg. And the other side, they, you know, in Israel, they had a mahitza, and it was one hole, just like, you know, those small mahitzas, you have like the wood, you put the wood, and on the other side was another bris. Bring me la'av. Who is the sandak there of the Yashiv? So imagine, everybody sitting in the hall, waiting for who? Rav Scheinberg, the Gadol Ador, and Rav Yashiv, to both to come in at the same time. Who came in? Of course, they both came in. I remember the day I saw the first time in my life. All his veins were literally in his brain. He was so shakua in his learning. He was just focused, learning 24/7 straight. He had to do his thing. Now, if Schomburg was there, sitting down, everybody's kissing his hand. Everybody's kissing, Rabbi, give me beracha, give me beracha, give me beracha. So I go there, and I kiss the rabbi's hand, Schomburg's hand. I whisper in the rabbi's ears, Rabbi, I want a beracha that I should be just like you when I grow up. So he looks at me, and he starts punching me a little bit in my stomach like this. And now all the boys in Mikdash, they want to know, what is he punching you? What do you tell him? So he says, you want to be like me? You got to work hard. You got to work hard. You see, sometimes a person might think, I can't be huge in Torah. I can't be a massive Talmid Chacham. It's not me. I'm not it. It's not true. It's not true. Because Torah is not based on how smart you are. It's about how hard you work. Like it says in Masechet Megillah, Davav, Yagata umatzata ta'amin. It says, let's say a person's a genius. And he comes over to you, wow, I understood the whole Tosafot like this. Wow, amazing, this. Hey, yeah, did you work hard for it? No, I didn't work hard for it. Al ta'amin, you don't have to believe the guy. I don't believe you got that. You didn't really get pshat and taisus. What do you mean? I'm telling you, I did it, I got it. What do you mean? You didn't really get it. So what do you mean? I did. I'm telling you, I did it. He says, no, you didn't work hard? Sorry. You worked hard? You're going to get it. You have a yo-yo. The guy his brain is like rock. He can't get anything in. So every time, you got this vote. Yeah. You have to believe him? It depends. Did you work hard? I worked so hard. You don't understand, Rabbi, the whole. By us in Mikdash, Rav Lamed used to tell us, when I first entered the shiur, I started asking him a question. He says, wait, stop, before you ask me. I said, what? He said, did you sweat over the question? I said, no. He said, okay, so when you sweat over the questions that you want to ask me, then come back and then talk to me. That's the way it was, by the way. Rav Lamed, Mordechai Lamed, in Mikdash Mel, that's what he was telling me. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Who schwitzes? And I was like, he's like, what? Lashon hara, I don't believe you. Everybody in my share was asking me a question. Schwitz, sweated over what we learned, then he got it. And if he didn't get it, he schwitzed over the question. And Rav Lamed said, I'm not Mekabel. If you don't sweat on the question, don't ask me. Don't ask me. That's why he was in yeshiva. I remember one time, Mordechai Lamed, I remember it was very hot. Very hot. He says, so hot in here, put on the AC. He's like, Rabbi, I was like, Rabbi, this is the ash of the Torah going on. He starts screaming at me, if this is the ash, I'll be sweating bullets. What are you talking about? Screaming top of his lungs. My chavrusa was there, of Ariel Bar-Lev. He was sitting right next to me when Rav Lamed told me that. So a person wants to strive. You know, how is it? You have guys, they're matmidim, they love the learning, every time Rabbi Eliyah, the Rosh Yeshiva of Mikdash Melech, used to come, and he used to give Seudah Shlishi Derush. What was his Derush about? Torah Chaim HaKadosh. What was Torah Chaim HaKadosh saying? If a person felt the sweetness of Torah, he would go meshugat, crazy, all day, just steiging and learning and more, and give me another pshat. It's so sweet, the Torah, the guy would go crazy of samha, of happiness his whole entire life. But the question is, how do we get to that level of living and learning, of steiging to the next level? So I tell you, it was Shishim Pincus. And he brings a mashal of a spaceship. When they first invented the spaceship, they had to check how much gas they needed in order to reach the top. They want to get to the moon. You want to get to the moon, you got to have the gas. If you don't have enough gas, you stop midway. Oh, I got to come back down. So the astronauts were always figuring out the exact, how much exactly gas did they need. And they started figuring it out, and they said, it's impossible. From here to get to the moon, it's impossible. The gas, there's no tank big enough. We can't do it. Back and forth, they're arguing back and forth. Finally, one Chacham astronomist gets up there and says, I got it. All we need is enough gas to get from here to get above the atmosphere, the world's atmosphere. Once we pass the gravity of the world's olam hazeh, of the earth, then already we'll float much higher, faster. We'll go very, very high. You know what he said? So the same thing, Kivyachol Elef Avdalot, lahavdil. Same thing by the Torah. What's the pshat? What's the pshat? A guy, how come you have one guy, the biggest matmeed, and you have the other guy who's not such a matmeed, and you have another guy that loves learning, and you have another guy that doesn't such a learning? What's the pshat in that? Like this. There's something called retzifut. There's something called a person has to constantly be in the learning. Now let me explain. You know, sometimes a person might have, everybody has a seder. We have 2 stadim, right? Every day we have first seder, we have second seder, right? Usually it's 4 hours each. 4 hours first seder, 9:30 to 1:30. Second seder, another 4 hours. So now, the way we have to understand is that we can't have a hefsek in the limud between first and second. Even though we have a break, we have ben azdarim, we have ben azmanim, we have breaks. The yeshiva, they did it on a system, and it's an important system. But we can't forget that we have to be in the thinking of the learning. You know, Rav Shach, Rav Shach, there was one time a bacha came to him and says, Rabbi, I don't know, I just got married, my wife's driving me nuts. I said, why? She's telling me to do the dishes. Come on, Rabbi, I'm going to do the dishes. I can't. He says, no, you're wrong. You want to help your wife? You can help your wife and be thinking in the rashba at the same exact time as you're washing the dishes. It's not a stira, it's not a contradiction. These Gedolim, how did they become Gedolim? You know how they became Gedolim? Because they were constantly learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and learning. But not just regular learning. It was learning b'tzifut. When a person has a first seder and he's sitting down and he's about to start the first seder, nothing matters except these 4 hours that I'm going to work till I sweat. Till I sweat. The person has to have musagim. You know, there was a man, Herschel. Herschel went to a town and he told the gabbai of the Bet Knesset, listen, I'm coming in. I need a place for Shabbat just for Friday night to eat. Friday night to eat, no problem, I'll take care of you. He says, please, but get me a good place. He went around seeing this, that. Says there was only one person available that take the Herschel in. It was the biggest gevir, the richest, wealthiest guy in the whole town. So he says, listen, the gabbai tells Herschel, you're going to a guy now, this guy talks forever, yaps away, yap. He'll never stop. You'll be there yapping. He says, don't worry about it. Set me up, I'll take care of my situation. Just set me up. Okay, no problem. He sets him up with the wealthy guy. They sit down, they're sitting, and they're talking. First question, right after they start the meal. Also, Herschel, which town do you live in? I live in so-and-so place. Oh, really? Wow, very nice. Oh, I remembered there's a guy, so-and-so. Is he still living there? He says he died. He died. Oh, my goodness. The Bait calls his wife. Oh, my goodness. Herschel just said this guy died. Okay. They continue the meal. Oh, what about this guy? How's he doing? Oh, he died. Oh, my goodness. He starts going crazy. The guy. Every few minutes, he starts asking another guy about that. What about this guy died? What about this guy died? What about this guy died? After the meal, they buy the dessert. He's finishing. The Baal Bait says, Herschel, everybody's dying. What's going on? Let me explain to you something. He tells the Gvir, when I'm eating, everybody's dead. You hear what's going on? When I'm learning, everybody's dead. It's kiviyachol, a statement, just to hear. And when a person's learning, and he has a seder limud, from his first seder on, nobody gets in the way. I'm sitting down, even my own chavuta, I'm sitting down, I'm learning the whole entire time. Because when a person has a hefsek, when a person has a stop in his learning, it's already, he's pouring, it's like a guy, he's bubbling up, the fire is bubbling up. All of a sudden he stops learning, what happens? He pours the water on it. Now he starts again fresh. It's not the same exact, but it's like that. Now he starts again fresh. Oh, right in the sugya. That's why you have sometimes in the morning, it's very hard from what? When a guy after Shabbat, let's say, give you an example, now he starts again. The next day he had from Friday, Shabbat, now he's already starting Sunday, and already first Saturday he's like starting to be weak. What happened? The answer is you had to have sek from Friday to this. But if you were steiging the whole Shabbat, and you were steiging Friday, and you were steiging Sunday, then when you get involved with the sugya again, you feel, oh, this is it. This is beauty. And this is a person has to know. This is in life. Where's the real samha? I know we have a few more minutes. But in life, where's the real samha? The real samha is when a person is a matmid. You know, Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel, Zatzal from Mir Yeshiva in Yerushalayim, he had a thing. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It was a 12-hour system. You heard of it, Moshe? It says 12-hour system. What was it? It was every bacha, he would go to them, says, learn 12 hours, learn 12 hours, learn 12 hours, learn 12 hours. So he would mechayev them. He would mechayev them. Now, you try it. Now, ben azmanim, okay, during the zman, all ben azmanim, I don't know, it's not a steer. Torah is 24/7, you know what I'm saying? There's no zman for Torah, we're ma'ala zman. Right? Try it. Try it for a week straight. Try it for 2 weeks straight. Try it for 3 weeks straight. You will see, you will have the best pleasure you will ever get, ever in your entire life. I was learning my Havruta once. Havruta had an old Havruta, I had many Havrutot. But one of my Havrutot that I had, they set me up. The Rosh Hashiva one time, he said, Yosef, learn with him. So I started learning with him. I see the guy was very chalash, very, 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 very weak. Very, very weak. So he came over my house, we started schmoozing, starting talking. And then he opened up to me. I said, what are you opening up? He says, I used to have it. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I was never good I was never working. I was a lazy bum. But one time, my Rebbe came over to me and he said, this week, Thursday, you're doing a chabura. You are giving a shear on the piece, on the sugya that we're learning. He says, me, no. He says, listen, I'm mehayev you to go ahead and you're going to do it. He said, oh my goodness, I don't know. I don't know where to start. He said, okay, if the Rebbe's mehayev me, I'm going to do it. And he sat there. He told me, listen, this was 3 years after he did this chabura. 3 years after. He said, I did it 3 years ago at the time. He said, I was day and night from Sunday till the Thursday until 12 o'clock where I was about to give the shir on Thursday. The whole day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I was steiging away, getting every sugya. What does this Rishon mean? What does that Rishon mean? And if anybody over here does a chabura, if anybody over here does it, you'll see the metikut. You'll see the metikut. Why? Because now you mehayev yourself. Now there's so many people. Now my Rebbe is going to hear what I have to say. I remember me when I was in the kollel in the yeshiva, when I was mehayev my chabura, sitting down, schwitzing. The second my Rebbe was masking to the chidush that I said, wow, Gan Eden. Forget that. Even before that was Gan Eden. Kol kuloi, because you're mamish in the sugya 24/7. And therefore, a person has to understand. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh says the metikut is there. The metikut is there. But how come we don't hit to the next level? The answer is, we stop too many times. We have a hefsek here, we have a hefsek there, in the middle of Seder. Net. Count how many net hours do you learn. Rav Finkel was mehayev, this guy, he was in yeshiva 12 hours. He said, Rabbi, I can't do it. He says, no, you can do it. He says, fine, I'll do it. I'll try it for 2-3 days and that's it. 3 days, fine, no problem. By the third day, after the third day, stop. But 12 hours for 3 days straight. And he did it 12 hours, one day, second day, and he was schwitzing. He couldn't handle it. He was like, body was getting weak in this. Third day, he said by the third day, he had a dream of the sugya that he was learning. He woke up in the morning mumbling words of his Gemara, not even knowing. Because the Torah was so penetrated in him. Imagine 12 plus 12 plus 12 all together. Whoa! He said he felt like a new Bria. He felt like a whole new being. Rav Shimon Pincus' father went to the Mir Yeshiva. He was an American bacher. He went to the Mir Yeshiva when Rav Yerucham Levovitz was the mashgiach. And he would write letters back home. Rav Shimon Pincus writes that I have all the letters, and he would go through the letters. That's all. He would go through the letters. He said one letter he couldn't believe. One letter was amazing. It says, I'm here in yeshiva in the Mir. His father's writing. I'm here in the yeshiva of Mir, and I can't believe that I see people himself. I don't know who he's talking about, but he said how in a matter of weeks, the whole person is a whole different being. He's a different person entirely. You know, there's a big problem. What's the problem? Do we know the schar of mitzvot, yes or no? Do we know the schar mitzvot? Yes or no? Do you know how much reward you get if you put on tefillin? You know? Anybody knows? Tell me. If you don't, tell me. You know how much reward you get if you do kibbutz avim? You don't know. You get arichut yamim, yes. But in Gan Eden, you don't know. In Gan Eden, you know how much reward it is? A guy gives tzedakah. Does he know how much reward it is? What's the reason for that? Why can't I know? Anybody know? Why can't I know? The answer is because if I tell you that tefillin gets you $1 trillion in Shamayim, and then the Birkat HaMazon doesn't get you, what are you going to do all day long? Oh, tefillin, oh, do this mitzvah, tzedakah. I'm going to do the mitzvot that have the most reward for. So therefore Hashem said, listen, I can't tell you the mitzvot, the reward for it. He says, but by Torah, it ruins the system. Why? Because Torah, did it tell you this? Did it tell you the reward? Yes or no by Torah? It told you the reward. If you have 612 mitzvot on one side, and one mitzvah on the other, what outweighs? One mitzvah of the Torah. The Magid was learning with who? With Shulchan Aruch. Malach came to learn with the Shulchan Aruch. And the Shulchan Aruch told him, if you would see what reward you're missing out on in Shamayim from 1 second that you stop learning, you would commit suicide. Yeah, no joke. I'll show it to you. I have it written down. I have it in my house. I can show it to you. Said you'll rather choose death than life, he writes. Why? Because the reward, and think about it, it's a normal thing. If I would right now bring out a suitcase of $1 million and I show to you, I have $1 million right in my suitcase right now. I tell you, look, go get me a cup of water and you get what's in my suitcase. Okay, what's in your suitcase? No, I'm not interested. You don't know what's in the suitcase. I said, but I have good stuff in the suitcase, but you don't know. I said, hey, no, I'm not interested. I tell him, you go and you get what it is. He goes and I open it in front of everybody. The suitcase full of $1 million. And I give it to him. What would you do? You have a heart attack. I could have just got $1 million. I'm crazy. Same thing about Torah. Every single second that goes by, it's another trillions and trillions and zillion dollars. So if that's the case, you kill the whole system. What is the guy going to do now? Learn Torah all day. You just told me that's the item. Torah is the biggest mitzvah of all the mitzvot. So forget all that. That's what a person might say. You know what the answer to this question is? No. Because when a person learns Torah, it changes his whole being that all he wants to do is what Hashem wants him to do. So therefore, Hashem says that's part of the system. Because I know when you have another mitzvah to do right now, and nobody else can do it, you're going to do it. Why? Because the Torah penetrated in your bones. And this we have to know. We want to get great. We want to go to the next galaxy. We want to get to the next level. We have to pass the atmosphere. How do you pass the atmosphere? By learning Batmada, by learning in etzifut, by learning strong. And the Hazon Ish says, a person stops in his learning, 1 hour goes, 1 hour stops, 1 hour goes, 1 hour stops. But a person goes, believe hefsek. That's the guy who steigt the most. That's the guy who feels the mitikut of the learning. Bezrat Hashem, we should be zochet to only he's sing good things and we can hear that.